Hello everyone. So today I thought I'll probably talk about Jira Work Management. Now, Jira Work Management is something that I think is good. I have mentioned it in the past as well, and good thing about Jira Work Management is that it has a lot of new features which were never really there earlier in Jira. So you have different ways to work on your project. Like you have list view, you have calendar view, you have some kind of a roadmap that you can create. Now, the problem is that although Jira Work Management has a lot of features and I like it, I think it is really useful. But when it comes to using Jira Work Management, when it comes to adopting it for doing some real work, there are some challenges that you might face or you will probably not like. Now, one such example is the way you can create different columns. Now, in your typical Jira software board, you can create columns, and columns are not directly related to or directly mapped to the workflow status. So you can have three or let us say five workflow statuses, but you can have two columns or three columns, right? And you can then map your status to those columns. For example, in your workflow, you may have statuses like in progress, on hold, review, and they all can map to in progress column, which is great because it will give you some flexibility to manage your work, to visualize your work. But when it comes to Jira Work Management, you will get columns, but your columns are, I believe, not configurable, which I tried by the way. But these columns are basically based on your workflow statuses. So if you have a workflow with five statuses, you will get five columns. And it is not always ideal because you end up, in some cases, a lot of different columns. But anyways, this is just one aspect of it. Jira Work Management, I believe, is definitely usable. Some of my clients are using it, and they are happy with it so far because, as I mentioned before, you have different views to manage your work. But at the same time, I think there are some features, some good features in Jira software, let us say Scrum, and you also have some good features in Jira Work Management. And the way the roadmap behaves is different in Jira Work Management. The way roadmap behaves in Jira Software is also a bit different. In Jira Software-based projects, you can have a roadmap where you can plan something on the timeline, but you can use the fixed versions, you can use sprint names, and you can, of course, use dependencies. So it works nicely, but the way these roadmaps work, I believe, is not really consistent, which makes sense. But at the same time, I believe roadmap features should be independent from the project, or in a way, roadmap should be a separate feature where you can basically tell your roadmap what you want to see. It could be a Jira Work Management based project, it could be a Jira software based project, or make these roadmaps a bit more configurable. For example, of course, we have advanced roadmaps, and I know advanced roadmaps come with Jira Premium, but even if we have like a simple version of roadmap with some features or uh, a bit more configuration options, then I believe roadmap as a whole will become definitely much more usable because a lot of people, when they start using roadmap, to be honest, I don't really blame them, but they complain because they think that the roadmap will help them schedule the work. They, of course, try to change the dates and they expect the dependencies to also shift, which happens in advanced roadmaps, but it won't really happen with the basic roadmap feature that you have within a project. It can happen, it depends. I mean, that is a problem. If you are changing the, it happens in Jira software based projects where you can definitely like see some shifting, but uh, but in a way, your roadmap feature within a project is very much different when it comes to Jira software. And if you compare it with Jira Work Management, it is definitely totally different completely. It is like the whole point of a roadmap is that You can visualize something on a timeline with start and end date. And although it works in most of the cases where you may want to just see on a timeline your work, but sometimes you also want to do a bit more. I mean, not sometimes, but usually you want to do a bit more when it comes to using the roadmap to plan the work. Because when it comes to roadmap, you're anyways trying to do something for the next 3 months or 6 months, and you may want to start with the high level activities and then you break it down into smaller activities. So I understand that advanced roadmaps is not really for everyone. It is definitely a premium feature, but the basic roadmaps I believe can be improved. And my only recommendation is that if you're using Jira for the very first time, or if you're coming from MS Project background, uh, then you will be you might be disappointed, especially with the roadmaps. But anyways, in this video, I just wanted to say that Jira Work Management is definitely usable. Initially, I was not really sure, but I think because some of my clients are using it, and I can see that they are happy with the way they can plan the work easily. Especially the best part is that you have that list view, which I believe is really good, where you can have multiple columns, or not really columns, but basically multiple, yes, columns, but you can basically display whatever fields you want to display. You can do edits on the issue, which is definitely useful, which I believe should be there in Jira software, and also Jira Service Management. So I think some of these features are only with Jira Work Management, some of these features are only with Jira Software. I understand Jira Work Management is for everyone. Jira Software is for software teams. Jira Service Management is for service desk teams. But but I think there are some common elements, and essentially you're working on Jira issues, and you have, of course, your you know uh, your workflows, your configurations that are always applicable. But there should be some improvement as a whole when it comes to different applications, because I was thinking that when you have these list view, form view, calendar view, not form view but calendar, I don't really see any reason why you can't have these features in Jira software. So maybe this video is for Atlassian, I guess, that please add these features and be consistent with other applications. To be honest, if you look at Jira software, I don't really think there is any significant new feature or update to Jira software, especially Scrum or even Kanban. The way it works is, I know that you now have like a bit more integration options, but functionality wise, I don't really remember anything new. So maybe Atlassian should probably add a couple of more features, especially the way you work on your issues like list view, calendar view. I quite like that. All right, that is it. That is all for today's video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.